Okay, so perhaps we'll just slowly get started. We'll do the introductions. So thank you everybody who has registered and logged in for our webinar. Hopefully you can hear us, hear myself at least. If you have any issues, please put it into the chat and let me know. We'll do a quick introduction. So my name is Claire. I'm part of the residential team based in Dubai. We cover the MENA region, the GCC, and the Levant area. So again, something like this is useful for those in the Levant, anyone who wants to buy and purchase a property in Portugal, may be interested in looking at the golden visa that we're going to be discussing. So we've teamed up with our Portugal team. So I'll introduce you now. So I'm going to head over to Pedro and he'll just give himself a bit of a background and introduce himself to you. Pedro.
Hello, Clara. Thank you. Nice to be here. My name is Pedro Barreto. I am a residential projects director here at JLL in Portugal. And it is a pleasure to be with you here today and will be available for any assistance that you need.
Thank you. And now we're going to move on to Telmo.
Hi everyone, my name is Telmo, also from JLL Portugal. Together with Pedro, we lead the new developments team on residential in Portugal. It's great to be here.
And finally, but not least, is Ricardo.
Hello, I'm Ricardo Louro. I'm the director of Martinez Echevarria Law Firm in Lisbon and Cascais. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Looking forward.
So we'll guide you through the presentation, a little bit about the market in Portugal, followed by some developments, some very exciting developments that they have being constructed at the moment, of which you can get the golden visa. And finally, with the actual process of the golden visa, with any associated costs, we'll finish with that. And as I said, any questions you want answering throughout, please put them into the question as a chat section you'll be able to see at the bottom. Send us through your questions and we'll be able to direct them to the correct member at the end. Hopefully we can answer your questions as we go through the presentation. But we're going to start with Pedro. Thank you.
Hi, so thank you. As Claire said, let's hope that at the end of this presentation you'll be more comfortable with the country. I'm sure many of you already have been there or have visited our beautiful country, and we will talk a little bit more in depth about the real estate market in specific and the Golden Visa program. So to start, a small introduction to JLL Residential. We are in the market for over 20 years and currently have 3 offices in the country. We are specialized in the middle to high segment of the market and have the largest portfolio of residential assets in real estate. So that gives you, we believe we have the best opportunities for people that want to invest or to live in the country. Portugal is very well connected to the rest of the world and is one of the most interesting touristic business and retirement hubs with direct flights to the main capitals of the world, including Dubai. Going to Portugal economy and looking at Portugal, here are some of the figures that shows the country's high level of resilience and political unity and cohesion. Portugal has been regarded as one of the countries that best responded even on the current health crisis, and will likely represent one of the best destinations to invest to or move to afterwards. We have a very low interest rate on the long-term national bond at 0.55%, and this shows how the international confidence is in our market. The interest rates on mortgages are low and will continue to be low. Average in Portugal is situated at 1.32%. It's right, you are reading it correctly. And this obviously fuels a lot of investment into real estate and businesses. Many companies are opening in Portugal and choosing our country as a location to open their European hub, a new office, obviously lured by the very high quality of our education system, the great talents that we have here, and the great quality of life that the country can provide. Even during this crisis period, we are seeing how real estate is performing better than other asset classes. This is happening in Portugal, in many other countries, but in Portugal we see this in particular. Special interest from all over the world, from Portuguese, from Europeans, and for overseas investors. Looking at our yields on residential and talking specifically about prime areas of the city, we see a stable return between 3 to 4% over the last 10 years. This is one of our major attractiveness factors. It's that it is true that the yields are not spectacularly high. We're talking about 3 to 4%, but they are incredibly stable in time. On this slide, what we try to disclose is basically some of our fundamentals. Why is the market booming? Why is it resilient? And these are some of the factors that remain untouched at this stage. So Portugal is the third most peaceful country in the world. It's actually the first country that on this list that is not an island, and has been on this high level for many years. We are one of the oldest countries in the world, with almost 900 years with stable borders, and quite proud of that. We are a growing economy based on technology, on innovation and services, ranked 10th on the World Press Freedom Index. That gives you a good sense of how our democracy works. It has an excellent health and education system. Portugal is one of the EU countries that offers the best quality of life. And it's not just me saying this. Expat Insider has ranked Portugal as the best country in Europe for expats to live. And Forbes, just recently, I would say 1 month ago or 1.5 months ago, has recently named Portugal as the #1 destination to go to after COVID. So it is this balance between security, stability of our political system, quality of our infrastructures, quality of our educational and healthcare system, great food, which is always good to have, great weather, and amazing people such as the panelists that are here. These are the instruments of the Portuguese success. It is said, I once heard an ambassador say this, and I will copy it. Portugal discovered the world 500 years ago. Now the world is discovering Portugal. And to prove it, I think this is a very interesting data for you to have. Just taking account JLL transactions last year, we had 43 different nationalities buying houses with us. That's the whole world. Basically, there's a whole lot of people coming to Lisbon to invest, Lisbon and to Portugal to invest. But in Lisbon, it's true, it's stronger, and the interest is immense. So these are just some of the companies that. So it's not just residential. It's all of the sectors of real estate. These are just some of the companies that are moving to Portugal, both to Lisbon and to Porto, and putting themselves hubs in the country. Looking at specifically at the residential market, we see how well it has been performing over the last few years, with a price growth of over 15% if we compare to the previous year. This is not just fueled by international market, so it's not just foreigners that are buying and making this price increase. The main nationality on our market is Portuguese. So there's a lot of people investing and buying houses from themselves. I think this is very good. And so that you have an idea of the overall market, our top 3 nationalities are #1 Brazilian, which historically has a connection to Portugal, UK, and France. This is our top 3. So the Middle East is a market that is also very, very strong. And we have 2 kinds of investors. One that is obviously a Golden Visa investor, but we also have a lot of developers that look for opportunities to make bigger sized businesses. We have actually one of the projects that we're bringing here today is actually from a Lebanese developer. So our prime value on residential is situated on Avenida de Liberdade, which is the prime luxury avenue of Lisbon, and values there reach 10,500 euros per square meter, which is still, if you compare it to other European cities, it's still very affordable. Where in London or in Paris or in Berlin, you can find double or triple of this value. Of course, the Golden Visa program is one of the major factors of attractiveness. It is a legal mechanism of where investors from outside of Lisbon, from outside of Europe, can be granted a temporary permit to live, to study, or invest in Portugal, and to move freely to any other country in the Schengen area. This temporary status can become permanent after 5 years, following a set of appointed principles. Although this is not the major source of foreign investment, it is still a quite important one for Portugal's attractiveness. We will go on this program a little bit more in depth with Dr. Ricardo Louro from Martínez Echevarria. He will go into the program because for sure this is where we will have a lot of questions. But basically, what we wanted to briefly say here about this program is we have basically 2 options. One, on real estate, which is the major source of Golden Visa investment. One, which is the acquisition of real estate in the amount equal or higher than 500,000. And we have a project today that fits this criteria. And another opportunity is when you buy real estate that is over 30 years old on a rehabilitation area of the city, and you buy the property and do the rehabilitation works at a later stage, and the global amount of this is equal or greater than 350,000 euros, it also can qualify for the Golden Visa program. The second project, actually the first that we're presenting here today, fits this criteria. So It is a program that has, in 2019 alone, reached a volume of investment of 660 million euros, which is quite incredible, very important for the country. And if you look at data from May 2019 to May 2020, you'll see that the investment has almost tripled. This is the data about the evolution of sales and over the last 10 years. And it's specific data from the Portuguese Statistic Institute. And you see steady growth in the number of sales over the last 8 years, translating not only in number, but also in terms of volume. The first quarter of this year, so January to March, was incredibly good and allowed us to see there is a lot of confidence in the Portuguese real estate market, where transactions were 40% above 2019. So the capital is here, the willing to invest is here, both by foreign and domestic buyers. Having this said, of course, the pandemic should translate into a small adjustment in 2020. But according to our data and to predictions that have been made on the Portuguese market in specific, we believe the last quarters of this year and going into 2021, we will have a quick recovery to become one of the most attractive markets in Europe. This is what has happened to prices in the last years. And you will see also, according to Standard & Poor's, a small adjustment in 2020, where prices should decrease a mere 2.5% to recuperate quite quickly in 2021 and in the following years. If you look at the chart, I think one interesting point is, even looking at the years of the previous financial crisis that had structural issues, structural bank issues to be solved, you see that the adjustment on the prices were not so significant and were resolved in the medium term. So how do I buy a house in Portugal? So the process is quite straightforward, it's quite simple. First, you find a property that fits your investment criteria. That's why we're here. We're here to help you in this. Then you either come to Portugal, or we will help you see the locations and see the specific characteristics of the property that you have chosen while you are abroad. Once you choose, you make a reservation of the units, and typically at this time you'll pay a small fee to take the unit out of the market. Then you receive the draft promissory sale and purchase agreement, and typically a lawyer is mandated to act on your behalf to check if everything is according to your requirements and to move forward. Then, if the property is under construction, which typically the best opportunities of the market, because it's a heated market, are the ones that are under construction. Typically on these cases, the payments follow construction stages. So the more it is built, you will pay along the way. But when you reach the end of construction and the City Hall has granted the use license, the final deed is done on a notary, and it is at this point that you will pay the transfer tax, the notary and registration fees, and the stamp duty. If you want to rent the property, or if you need any more assistance at this stage, we, JLL, will be here, obviously, to help you. So here are just some of the costs we tried to collect here. What you need to know in terms of taxes during the different stages of buying, owning, and selling your property. So you have a one-off acquisition cost that is done on the deed. Then once you have the property in your name, you have a yearly tax, a property tax, which is quite low, 0.3 to 0.45% of the fiscal value of the property, which is quite lower than actual market value. Then if you rent out the property, you'll have to pay income tax from it. And once you want to sell the property, you'll have to pay 28% of the capital gain. This capital gain, you can deduct the costs that you had with the property. There's no inheritance tax. That's one of the pluses of Portugal. And that's it in terms of taxes. So that you understand, if you want to mortgage for Golden Visa, you can mortgage all the amounts that are above the thresholds that we mentioned. So if you're going for a 500,000 euros property, if it's a 600 or 650,000, you can finance that extra 100 or 150. Finances can go up to 70% for periods between 5 to 50 years, and they can vary between 1.5 to 3% in terms of interest rates. What we see on most of Golden Visa buyers is that their initial hook to Portugal is the passport, is basically having their Golden Visa. But once they understand the country, they get to know the people, they come here and see the value, they tend to invest again and again. This is what we see, I would say, with 95% of our buyers, because it's what we told at the beginning. First, you're just for the Golden Visa, but then once you get to know the country, you'll understand the value and you'll want to invest more. So now that we've done a brief overview of Portugal and of the residential market, I think we want to go deeper into Lisbon and show you two of our great investment opportunities. But first, tell me, I will pass this to you and leave you a question. Why do you think Lisbon is such a great place to invest and to relocate to?
Thank you, Pedro. First of all, I must say, as a disclaimer, that I might be a little bit biased because I was born in Lisbon, studied, and currently work here. So all of us that have the pleasure and the luck of working here, we know that Lisbon is blessed by a spectacular light and also has a unique climate and quality of life. Pedro has been speaking about the security, stability of our country. And of course, I would add Lisbon is for sure the one that have the most extremely competitive cost of living, especially if you are comparing to other main capitals around Europe. But also you will find, you already did if you came here as a tourist, that the city is well known by its hospitality, natural beauty, and also the charm. So it's probably one of the oldest capitals that we have. A city full of contrasts. If you've been here 20 years ago and came here today, you'll see a lot of innovation, of evolution, a city more friendly to people and also to foreigners, as always been. And one thing that we are lucky is that the city is, we have the advantage of being close 20, 30 minutes by car to beaches, to the countryside, and also to some golf courses. As you see on some of the data, very well equipped city. So we have all the infrastructure, hospital, international schools for people who come and live and work, both international and Portuguese, very good, well-rated universities. And of course, we're having 20 times the people that live in Lisbon visiting us, 20 million last year, coming to know this beautiful city. Also, Lisbon is one of the most economic hubs now. It has an extensive offer on real estate, and that's why we were awarded by PwC last year as the best European city for property investment, and holding a lot of events like such as the Web Summit. If we go now a little bit more in depth to the projects that we come and brought to you, we'll start for a project called Graceful. The name is linked, of course, with its location. The neighborhood is Graça. And you will find that Graça, as you will see in the pictures, is potentially one of the oldest neighborhoods that we have in Lisbon, and also one of the most traditional that you'll have. You will find the narrow streets, as you see in the picture in the middle, which is why some of you have an image of Lisbon. This is probably the neighborhood that is on the highest hill of Lisbon. We have 7 hills. So it's located on the top of it, a few blocks from the St. George Castle and also from the São Vicente Fora Monastery. You will see that the most famous viewpoints in Lisbon are here at Graça, and on your left side you'll have the Mirador de Santa Graça, which is definitely one of the most spectacular viewpoints where you can see the river and the city. And also, of course, you will have a lot of monuments to visit, such as the Senhora de Monte Igreja that we have there, a church you can visit with the spectacular tiles of the 17th century. Also, if we look more into depth to the location of our project, you'll find that we are very close to the river. For those who have been in Lisbon, you know that although we are a capital of the European country, it's a quite small city, so you can walk around to everywhere or easily. And so everything is within walking distance, supermarkets, pastries, the best restaurants, and also to the castle is one of our viewpoints. Going forward to the project itself, you will find that this is a building. We work with this Portuguese developer for several years now. This is a 3-story building with only 14 apartments, and you will see that the average size of a project here in Lisbon, it's like 20 apartments, 20 to 30 apartments, and it's why the demand is still very well balanced with the offer that we have, because we have to launch a lot of projects in order to match the demand, and they will range from studio to 2-bedroom apartments. This is a very experienced developer, specialized on the refurbishment of buildings such as this one, and we've been working with them for several projects. And he also has an apartment management company, Lisbon Inside Out, very experienced doing both short and long-term leases, and that is why, as you can see, that on this specific project you will have a fixed return of 5% gross for the next 5 years, granted by this company. Also, I would say this is one of the very few projects that we have on our portfolio that is entitled to the 350 investments for the Golden Visa program, a combination between the purchase of the property and the rehabilitation works, and this is for sure one of the best options and one of the few that you will find in Lisbon that can match and offer this kind of program. For the old people that have been our attendees at this special webinar, of course, we agreed with the developer, and a furniture package will be included for the people who reserve or buy an apartment on this location, on this project. If you see, considering the project, so this is sophisticated and functional apartments. In Portugal, in new developments, all the kitchens are fully fitted and equipped. So this project had the apartments also optimized for rental, so both medium to short term, although you don't have to worry about it because it will be rented by the developer. And again, it will be a balance between the traditional, which is the main architecture that you've seen on the facades, with the contemporary, which is the finishes that will be modern and with all the comfort that we need today. Also on the bathrooms, everything is equipped, and so the furniture, the project is delivered ready to use. And also in this project, you'll find that you have probably something that everyone, at least in Portugal, I imagine in all the countries, needs, that is an outdoor living. So that is very important. It's not easy to find. Not all the projects have these kind of open spaces that you can use, and that most buyers now value a lot when looking for property. So summing up our offer on this project, so we will have the studio starting at 220,000 euros. If you want to comply with the 350, we'll have to make a combination of 2 units, or some of them that already are over 350 that you can use to apply. If you're looking to Portugal just as an investment, you can only buy you can buy one and start having your income, I would say more or less around the end of 2021, when it's estimated the completion. On our second project, we're going to move a little bit more to the city center, and we're going to be close to the heart of Lisbon. As you will see on this specific location, you are on the very center of Lisbon. You're close to parks. Eduardo 7 is the biggest park inside of the city, within the city limits. Also, you're close to schools, supermarkets, and also very well served in terms of transportation. You have 3 subway stations within 5 minutes walking, which is very good, and also 10 minutes distance from the airport driving. And of course, we cannot forget that we are definitely on one of the best locations in Lisbon, and a very well known Avenida de Liberdade. So Avenida de Liberdade, for those of you that's already been here, will know that it's for sure most important boulevard. This boulevard is home to one of the largest concentration of luxury international brands, such as Louis Vuitton, Prada, Christian Dior, Versace. Also, you will find a lot of these of numerous luxury hotels on this area, and so I would say this is our little Champs-Élysées. This specific project that we brought you very close to this main boulevard, it's from a Lebanese developer. We've been working over the last 5 years with this developer, already completed and delivered a lot of projects. Currently, we have 4 projects on sale from this developer, 3 in Lisbon and 1 in Oporto. And I would say this is a very excellent choice that we have, a project that we are recently launched. As you can see, with a very traditional Portuguese architecture, with some balconies, and you'll find more on the next slides. These are slightly bigger units than the first project, so from 1 to 2 bedrooms. The majority will be 2 bedrooms, and so with this project, we will be targeting the 500,000 golden visa appliance. The majority of the units will have parking, which is always an added bonus, whatever city that we are talking about. And again, very close, as you've seen on the map, to Avenida de Liberdade and to the main city heart. As for the project, it's a very good rehabilitation work, and it's on progress right now, with a lot of lights, very big windows, open kitchens, as you see on this picture, a very historical building. So some of the apartments will have, again, outdoor areas, which now are super valued comparing to 3 months ago before COVID. And so I think this is another added value to the property. Also, you'll find the traditional fully equipped kitchens ready to use. The building itself, it has 2 facades, so you will have light from both directions as well, as you will see in the bedrooms. All of them, also apart from the bathrooms and the kitchens equipped, you also find that all the bedrooms also have the closets and closet area. And finally, but not the least, you'll find 2 interesting penthouses with a sloping ceiling, which give them a very good character. And the top of the top will be, of course, the outside terrace that you'll find on the top apartments, and that will have this open and amazing view over the city. And we all imagine having a drink at the end of the day. To sum it up on this project, so the units will start at 320. For those of you that are only thinking on this investment, a very good opportunity. The 2-bedroom units will start at 620. But bear in mind that for the golden visa, you just need to bring 500 on equity, of your own equity. So the remaining value, you can easily, with the low interest that Pedro mentioned before, finance the remaining and the difference. And again, it's a project that started the construction and will be delivered, the estimation, at the end of 2021. If you compare to the other project, although it's not a guaranteed return of 5%, we've made an estimation, and of course, Joel can help you on that. If you think on leasing on long term, you'll find rents within 2,000 to 2,400 per month, which will give you around a 4.5 gross return potential for these units. So I'll say two fine examples of our portfolio that are both eligible for you to start the visa program if it is your option, or as an investment. Of course, also two good opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. So those are some fantastic options. I think we've got some questions coming in. We'll keep those to the end. Now I think we're going to come down to the serious part, the money part, and the process. So we'll come over to you, Ricardo. You can explain a bit more about how it works that way.
Very well, thank you, Claire. Hello to everyone again. We are an international law firm, especially an Iberian law firm. We have 10 offices in Spain, 6 offices in Portugal. We have presence in Turkey as well, and have partnerships all over Europe and also in Brazil. We have been dealing in the past few years a lot with real estate, immigration law, and tax law. It is fundamental to let you know that according to the Portuguese Republic law, everyone has the right to own a property. Most of our properties are freehold, so you can buy the full ownership and full title of property, not being a EU resident or Portuguese resident or national. So anyone of any nationality can invest freely in Portugal. The principles of this purchase are very well settled. The law is a written law. It is not Anglo-Saxonic law, it's a written law. And most of it is foreseen in the Portuguese Civil Code that has been in place since 1966. The part of publication or of publicity of any real estate purchase is regulated by the Land Registry Code, which grants you, if you do the process properly, 100% safety on the purchase of the property and on the publicity that anyone can know by the touch of a button, because it's available online, that you are the owner of a determined property. So if you can go to the next slide, we will see that regarding golden visa, the legislation was approved in 2012, although the first year of big investment in golden visa was 2013. And this is the first year where we have the bulk of golden visas. It were mostly Chinese investment. The golden visa is, of course, aimed at third state nationals, every state around or outside, outside of the EU and the Schengen area. And it is aimed to obtain a residency in Portugal, which is an European country, through an investment activity. I'll leave you here with some numbers. The golden visa itself, it is a 5 years commitment, although it is now interpreted as being 3 cards, 2 years plus 2 years plus 2 years. It means that since the COVID issue, Immigration Department has changed their perspective or interpretation of the law and understand that the first year or the first period of the golden visa card is also of 2 years. So instead of having a renewal after year 1 and year 3, you now have a renewal at year 2 and year 4. This doesn't at all change the fact that after 5 years, you or anyone who is in the golden visa process can apply for a permanent residency card and can apply for the Portuguese nationality. You with the golden visa, or anyone with a golden visa, will have the possibility of study, live, and work in Portugal, and also the possibility of freely travel through the 26 countries of the Schengen area. With just one investment, I will go through the investments in a few moments. Through one investment, the whole family of the investor can apply. And I mean the whole family, I mean immediate family, in the sense that the spouse, the children, even if children of only one of the spouses, the father and the mother of the investor, and the father and the mother-in-law of the investor can join the golden visa, all with just one investment. You have now a minimum stay period of 14 days per 2 years period. You can divide these 14 days according to what you want, either 14 days in a row, or within this 2 year period, you can make 7 days a year, or 5 days 1 year, and 9 days on the other. It's up to you, as long as it is within this period, and as long as it is 14 days. As I said before, everyone who is the carrier of a golden visa card can, after 5 years of having such card, be eligible to apply for the Portuguese nationality, and with this, fully enjoy the entire round of rights of the Portuguese community and also Portugal itself, which Pedro has talked a bit about Portugal and Telmo has talked a bit about Lisbon. So whichever area of Portugal you want to be, either Lisbon or otherwise, it's a fantastic area, very safe country, a very stable country in terms of political environment and of legislation. So you are most welcome. It is a fantastic country to live. I'm not going to bother you with the whole Schengen area countries. If you have any doubt about a Schengen country, here it is on the list. If you want me to clarify, I will. As you can see from the map, Portugal is very well located. It is a fantastic location in terms of it is a peninsula, so it has always a sea frontier and only one border with land. It's very easy access. This is one of the reasons why we went to the sea many years ago. Going to investment activities itself, the underlying investments of the Golden Visa, we have several types of investment. We have the transfer of 1 million euros to a Portuguese bank account. This is marginal, the investment through this. We have the creation of a company in Portugal with at least 10 full-time working places. This is also a very low number of golden visas with this. And then we have the two, let's call it best sellers, the investments in real estate, either by the 500,000 euros or the 350 option that Pedro discussed a bit about with the purchase and the rehabilitation works together at 350. Both of these values are reduced by 20% if the investment is made in a low density area. Low density areas are areas with less than 100 inhabitants per square kilometer. This is the law criteria. Then we have also other type of investments that are even more marginal than the previous one, which is the investment in national heritage, art and culture, investment in certain qualified research activities, the purchase of an existing business, and now what has been gaining some adepts, which is to invest in a private equity fund for 350,000 euros. That's the ticket for the Golden Visa. Passing on to the new procedures, given the COVID pandemic, we need to do most of the work at a distance. So you need to choose your investment. This is the most important part of the process. And at a distance, we can take care of the signature of the power of attorney, of the signature of the statement for us to obtain your tax numbers and become your tax representatives, and taking care of opening a bank account. All of this without you traveling to Portugal. You can do this in your native country or in the country of residency. Then we can complete the investment, the purchase, or the promissory purchase on your behalf, and receive the documentation by email, fill out the documentation to the immigration services, pay the necessary admission fees, and then 4 to 6 weeks later, that's the time that they usually take to accept a new file, we schedule the biometrics. This is the time when, after the biometrics are scheduled, that you need to travel to Portugal to take the biometrics. It has to be here in one of immigration services agencies. And then we have to have some months of wait for the Golden Visa approval. It is not immediate. It takes several months to be approved, but it is a very objective process. So as long as we apply with all the documentation, we are okay. The Golden Visa is approved. We have approved several hundreds of Golden Visa files. I don't know how many, but surely more than 800 in total. The investment itself, the road until the end of the Golden Visa, is what we have. First the investment, then the application for the Golden Visa, and then the two renewals. The initial application, which is now understood of 2 years, it's very, very recent. This is why our slides are still with the law, but immigration does a new interpretation, which we will not oppose because it's beneficial for the investors. So you have 2 plus 2 plus 2. You will not reach the end of the third 2 years because you will most likely apply for the nationality and permanent residency. Then finally, we have a nice slide over our country, and I believe we have a scheduled table afterwards. Before we have our purchase process stages. The process in Portugal usually starts with a reservation agreement, which is a non-legal binding agreement. It is necessary for the house to be out of the market while we conduct our due diligence as lawyers, verifying all the necessary documentation of the property. It is usually fast. Then we have to proceed to the first legally binding contract, which is the promissory purchase contract, which is where we start to include the amount of purchase, the timings of the purchase, the timings of the completion. Then we have the payment of the transmission taxes and all the taxes regarding and costs regarding the final deed. we have the final deed, which is at the notary at this stage, and immediately or simultaneously with this final deed, we have the property registration, making it fully safe and fully aware that you now own the property that just signed the document. It is immediate. If you can go to the next slide, we will see here really more average fees of the notary, the public registration cost, the types of transfer tax, depending, of course, on the type of property that you buy. So 6.5% for lands and offices and shop, 6% for villas and apartments above 500,000 euros, 5% for any rustic land. All of these type of properties will always have a stamp duty or stamp tax of 0.8%. Then yearly, you will have a payment of 0.3 to 0.5, depending on the city, of the tax value of the property that you buy. This is the only tax over the properties that you will pay yearly, and it is over the tax value, I repeat, which is a much less value than the purchase. It's usually less than half of the purchase value. And regarding rental income, we have a fixed rate of 28% over that income for individuals. And well, I thank you for listening to me, and we are available for any question.
Thank you, all of you, for there was a lot of information there. So what we will be doing is we've recorded this webinar, and we can also send out this presentation, obviously with all the information. We've got a couple of questions that have come in, and if you have any afterwards, you've got all of our contact details, plus our sales gentlemen and ladies have contacted you via email and probably phone. So they will follow up with you as well anyway tomorrow with any further information. But we'll start with the first question. I'm going to send it to you, Pedro. In terms of the construction, are there any delays due to the COVID situation in Portugal? I think you're on mute still. Sorry, Pedro, you're on mute.
Sorry. Thank you, Claire, for your question. A very good one. Yes, we had no construction has stopped. We have just to have an idea, probably more than 100 developments on the market currently. Fortunately, no development has stopped in terms of construction. What we have right now is more restrictions for the construction men that are working on site. So more limitation on the number of people on site, all of them with masks, all of them with more hygienic cares. So I think we passed 2-3 months of adaptation to this new normal, which would slightly make some changes on the end dates of the products of the developments, but now at the cruise velocity, I would say. So it's a yes and no answer. It's nothing has stopped. Some changes were done, and now it's in full speed again.
Okay, perfect. So we've got another question. It's regarding the actual developments themselves. I'm going to come to you, Talma. So for the prices you mentioned, is it just for the property, or is it for the property and rehabilitation works that they will be paying for?
Thank you, Claire. Yes, the prices that we're seeing, it's the complete price, both for the apartment and rehabilitation works on the first one, and on the second, because you don't have the rehabilitation work on the golden visa process, it's also the full price.
Okay, and staying with that same project with the Graceville, you mentioned there's a guaranteed income. How is this paid?
This guaranteed income, it will be paid twice a year. Again, it's this company which is managing the rentals. It's already in place. We can also share with you the website and some of the properties that are working. And because they are very experienced both on short and long term, even without these times where tourism is a little bit more with problems with the traveling, they can do and make the long-term properties, because although a little bit smaller than usual, they are still eligible to do the long-term.
Okay. Ricardo, one for you, one that's I think a lot of people are going to be wondering, from the process, how long does the process take from start to finish? I know it's probably how long's a piece of string, but transferring money and starting the process as an average, how long would the process take for buying a property?
From the end of the client, well, let me tell you like this. Immigration in Portugal, due to the lack of human resources, is slow. This is a fact. We should be aware of this. However, they are, as I said, very objective. So the times it will take, we have to divide this into two categories. First, once we have submitted the file, so we need to gather all the documentation from the end of the investor. We need to make the purchase of the property. We need to open the bank account. and we need to buy the property or promise to buy, paying the golden visa amount. From this moment on, I would say that we will take between 4 to 6 weeks to have the acceptance of the file. And then, let's say, if we are able to go to the southern of Portugal, to the area of the Algarve, we should have about 5 months after the golden visa approval. After the approval, we should have wait about 3 to 4 weeks to have the card, because you have to pay them the final fees, and they have to print the card, the national printer. So answering your question, let's say that the total process will take about 7 to 8 months until we have the card. It is important that the investors know that it is given. Okay, they're just slow.
Okay, we've had a question from one of the attendees. I hear properties in Lisbon and Porto are going to be excluded from the golden visa. Is this still the case?
Very well. That was in the beginning of the year, a proposal of change in the law. There were given powers to the government to change. The government immediately said that any changes in the law would only produce effects from January 2021. So if we submit the file and the file is accepted until 31st of December 2020, it won't apply to the investors and the families that do now the golden visa, even for the renewals, because it will apply always the law at the moment of the acceptance of the file. However, furthermore to this, due to the COVID situation, the government has come to say that any changes in the law are suspended. So we don't know if this will stay like this or not. But if the government does not change the law until the end of this year, they will have to have another renewal of this authorization by the parliament to change the law. And being Portugal, a very democratic country, any changes in the law are always announced with plenty of months ahead to give time to the people to adapt. So most likely there won't be any changes in the law, but if there are any changes in the law, it only enter into vigency in 2021 and won't be applicable to anyone who start the process now.
Perfect, thank you. Maybe a couple more questions. I've got a two-pronged question here, so it's for all of you maybe. Can I purchase the property from abroad and come to Portugal only for the golden visa appointments? But also, do we have virtual tours that we can, or profiles where we can show people from abroad the properties that we have in Portugal, and then can they do the whole process from being abroad and just come to that visa? So one for you, Pedro and Telma, and then one for you, Ricardo.
Okay, from my part, it's a yes, a big yes. You just need to come for the golden visa and then for the minimum stay requirement, which is 14 days in a period of 2 years. So basically, you have to come 1 week vacations to Portugal, and you have to come and do the biometrics, which take 1 or 2 days, and you don't need to return.
From the property side, it's most common. Okay, it is most common that we have a lot of foreign investors that have never even come to Portugal and have purchased properties in Lisbon and in Porto. So most of our developments are fully prepared to do, basically because we're selling something that is off plan, that is not completed. All the tools that we have, 3D images, the commercial floor plans, the finishings list, all the information provided is so that any investor can have all the information on their side before making a decision and being completely comfortable about the end product. So yes, many of them have videos. We can do virtual tours with them. The whole team is ready and used to doing this for foreign investors.
So we have a one-stop shop. Just come to JLL for the properties, and then we'll come to you for the process. So it's very easy for the investors then. Just one last question, I think.
If I may interrupt you, I would like to. I think there is something important to say here, which is I referred this in my presentation, which is yes, we as a law firm can take care of the whole purchase process without you being here. Being that with you giving us and sending us the power of attorney, we can open the bank account on your behalf. We can obtain the tax number, and we can sign the promissory contract and the title deed on your behalf, all without you being in Portugal. I don't know if this was also the intent of the question. I think it's preferable to clarify this as well.
Perfect. I think it's very clear. So our last question is for you, Telma. It's regarding the last project, the Santa Maria 70. There's no guaranteed rental yield. So what would the yield and approximate yield be for that property?
We've done very recently a study on the rental market that we can share with our clients, of course, and we identify there is a lack of offer, and especially quality offer for the rental market. When we look at this kind of project, we see the location. It's very super well located, very good architecture, some apartments with outside areas, most of the apartments with parking as well and terraces. So we believe we'll be able to be renting these apartments around 2,000, 2,400 per month, which will be a typical rent for this location. And with this, giving these rents, we can be achieving around 4 to 4.5 yields per year. And of course, JLL can do that for our clients.
Perfect. Actually, I lied. I've actually got one more question that's just come in. I think is relevant. Once the golden visa is obtained, can it be used to travel in the EU as soon as it's issued?
Well, the answer is yes. As soon as you have the golden visa card at your hands, you can enter and travel all over the EU and the Schengen area with a card, without any visa, without anything. So the card is your entrance to the 26 countries. And you can even to come to Portugal when it is time for you Portugal to stay here. You can enter through any other of the Schengen area countries.
Perfect. I think that's all the questions we have for now. Of course, we can send the presentation out to everybody on email and a recording of this webinar. But thank you to the panel for all of your information. It was very thorough, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll leave it there. So thank you very much for everyone for coming in as well, for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
See you soon.